Desert Diaries. Hello, Arizona calling. And it is February, right? Is it? I mean, it could be a week next Wednesday or, frankly, 2035, the way the world is right now. But unless lockdown has really mashed my brain, it is still officially winter. I ask because it's warm. I mean, really warm here right now. 25 degrees today. Now, if you're listening to this and freezing your bits off, bear with me. I'm not trying to be smug. In fact, it's kind of unseasonably warm here in the desert. Don't forget that just a week or so ago, we had storms so powerful that it brought snow to the Valley's mountains, and the fly screen on my window flew around the garden in a frenzy, got ripped off. This week, I haven't even put a coat on, even when taking the dog out at 10 o'clock at night. I'm sitting here now with the window open, in a t-shirt. It kind of feels like it's spring. Arizona is such a glorious place to be with the weather like this. The furnace of summer is still months away, and even, can you believe it, 20 months since we arrived here. Blimey, I do still get a kick looking out of the window and seeing bright blue sky in February, even if so much of the country's waist-high in snowdrifts right now. I've talked before about how lockdown here really isn't like many other places in the world. Shops and restaurants are open, gyms and hairdressers are go, but many of my friends have actually gone into more of a self-imposed lockdown in the absence of any real guidance from the state and are isolating more than they were a few weeks ago. The vaccine's slowly starting to roll out here, but not at the rate of the UK by any means. There are now a few doctors' surgeries and clinics allowing the over 65s to book in for the first shot, as they call it here. And there's a huge stadium where, in fact, I saw the Rolling Stones in 2019, no less. That seems like a decade ago. Who've turned the massive car park into a kind of drive-through immunisation station. You register online, drive up, stick your arm out the window, and drive off again. Because America, right? Don't get out of your car unless you have to. It's a 24-hour operation, so my friend Brian found himself getting his first jab at 12:45 the other morning. There's also a few pharmacies offering shots, or rather drugstores as they call them here. I do still always do a double take when I see huge signs from the freeway outside shops saying drugs, especially if they're near a hunting or an outdoor store, so the signs say drugs and guns next to each other, and I feel like I'm in an episode of The Wire. The other strange thing about drugstores here is that they not only sell drugs, of course, so your prescription drugs, but also your over-the-counter cough and cold stuff. Yes, cosmetics and toiletries as well, snacks and chocolate or candy bars, fizzy drinks, so far so boots, right? But then they also sell booze. Loads of booze, massive bottles of whiskey and vodka and wine and beer and cider and you name it. They're open late and early, and there don't seem to be any licensing laws around when you can grab a packet of corn plasters and a litre of Jack Daniels. It's quite odd. Brits do have somewhat of a reputation for being drinkers in this country. In some states more than others, to be fair. I have met people since living here who've said, "Oh, you're British, so you just drink tea and warm beer then." Not completely misinformed. And yet in LA, I've also had conversations where people are genuinely horrified if you have a second glass of wine at dinner. There's looks like, "Oh, look at them. They've got a problem." One English friend went for a checkup with his doctor, and she actually asked him, "How much do you drink?" So he said, "Oh, just a couple of glasses of wine a couple of times a week." I mean, lying completely through his teeth. "Oh no," she said. "How long have you drunk at such dangerous levels?" Luckily, my doctor has asked no such question. At least I did dry January, eh? One thing that's thrown me off a few times is that some branches of huge supermarkets here, like Walmart or Target, don't sell booze at all. Now, don't forget these places are the size of Poland. Massive, massive shops that I'm sure you could move into and no one, frankly, would notice. I'm sure I've seen a herd of elk hanging around the frozen foods section a few times and, frankly, no one's noticed. So one day it took me about 40 minutes to do a full circle, and only after that amount of time I realised there's no booze section. But I had bought booze at other Walmarts, so I was a bit confused. Asking an assistant, I was told they don't sell alcohol as this particular branch had been built on native land. There's a long and complicated history between native people here in the United States and the alcohol that was introduced by white immigrants. Too complex to go into right now, but I do urge you to read up on it. Needless to say, laws were enforced by the US Supreme Court about the sale of alcohol on and near to reservation land. Laws drafted in the 1800s, but many of them still upheld today by some states, Arizona included. So if you're in the market to responsibly enjoy a sherry, don't spend hours wandering aimlessly round a supermarket the size of an aircraft hangar without checking first. I'll see you in the desert.